What's good? What's good? We're back in here. It's good. It's good. Hopefully everybody is good. Parker, what's poppin'? What's up, Moon Spirit? What's up, Coco? 0519. It's good. We back in here. We back in here. Hopefully everybody's good. Alright. So we're not gonna get too deep today. Hopefully it's not too deep, but we're gonna go into it. We're gonna get into it. Alright. Hold on, hold on. Hold on. You can't really see the skull. Hold on, hold on. What's good, everybody? I gotta make sure you see the skull. Hold on. I'm just gonna hold this in my hand. Just gonna hold it. Fucking the size is like a crystal ball, right? Alright, we're about to get into it. Alright, turn this off. Alright, what's good, everybody? Asharenu. We back up in here once again on an everyday basis. You already know how we getting it in. Again, it's the weekend, so we coming live a little bit later than usual. Don't think it's possible for you not to end up getting deep. Yeah, probably. That's why I always preface, certain things. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, let me make sure that y'all see this. You see this kind of, I'm just gonna hold it like this. All right. All right. So today we're going to get into the secrets of the skull and bones. Now, what is the purpose of making this video? Now, I've been talking about this skull in particular. I've been talking about this skull ever since I had it the last couple of days. And literally, every time I have this in my area, whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm meditating, where I'm studying, this is definitely, energy is being pulled in to this skull, and it's emitting a certain frequency. So lately, because I've been telling y'all, like, I've been working with this skull, this has been going on, this is what's been happening, I've been channeling this energy here. I've been revealing, more and more things about the skull. So I'm like, why not continue to reveal more things? Because things are happening for me on a daily basis. Ever since I've had this, get you one of these. You can find these anywhere. You can get you one of these so you can pull down this energy. Now, the purpose of the video is to go deeper into the mysteries of the skulls and bones, right? Because that's a symbol that most of us associate with, the Illuminati or the dark side, right? Something negative, something evil. When you see the skull and bones, 322, the Masons, right? Pirates, so on and so forth, or death, a lot of people don't want to face death. What's up, Marvin and Magi? So most of the time when we study the skull and the bones, it's very, very uncomfortable because it leads you into deeper mysteries. Once again, death, when we go into the tarot, I can show you the cards right now. Let me actually show you the card, just to give you an overall feel. Just in case you didn't see the previous videos, just in case you're not keeping up, I encourage everybody to keep up because all these lessons are intertwined. But of course, for those who want that extra information, you can always go to the website and sign up, just in case, you have a harder time keeping up. Oh, look, I went directly to the death card. That's just how in tune it is. I literally had the deck. I literally was about to cut the deck. This was the card in the middle. So the death card came immediately up. That's just how in tune. I didn't even have to look for the card. So you see the 13th card represents death, and you see the symbol of Scorpio right here. Right? That's the symbol of Scorpio. Let me give y'all some color. Hold on. So y'all can see the colors of the card. There we go. We're gonna switch up the filters so y'all can see the color. See, there you go. Much better. So You see those skull, that skull and bones, once again, that crown skull with the scythe in his hand. You see the Scorpio, you see the snake, you see a dead flower, you see spirits. You see spirits being released in the background. See the spirits, and they're being interwoven with the skull. You see the fish right here. And of course, you see the dove at the crown. All right, very, very, very symbolic card. So I'm just going to keep this out. I'm going to keep it out. I'm going to show you the death card in my other decks as well, so y'all can get a better feel of it. So let me pull out the death card for my other decks. You know why I'm explaining these things. So once again, when we think of death, most of the time it's associated with, something evil or something sinister or just something mysterious or something unknown. Now the reason that is because whenever we're dealing with the mysteries of the skull, let me give you a closer look. All right? Whenever we're dealing with the mysteries of the skull, we're dealing with secrets and mysteries outside the circle of time. So let's paraphrase that. That's the first thing. You're dealing with mysteries outside of the circle of time. So whenever you're channeling in the energy of death, you know that you're dealing with an energy that has no beginning and has no ending. You're dealing with the infinite all, as some people term it the Akashic records. You can term it many, many things, but you're dealing with secrets outside of the circle of time. Here we go. Now here's the death card in the Crow's deck. Now once again, you see the serpent. I've been talking a lot about serpents as well. Mutate, regenerate, right? See the serpent, you see the bird, looks like a phoenix. A flaming bird, burn it to the ashes and will definitely regenerate as something more than it was before, in other words, right? Being able to regenerate your memory after death, so on and so forth. So I'm already saying, I already got 3 dumps down. I'm not even 10 minutes into the video. Y'all, keep the energy coming, definitely. Because every time I reveal these secrets, they not gonna like it. So I'm letting y'all know right now, this information may be something that nourishes your soul. But for other people, they're just gonna, oh, here's the death card here. See, I don't even have to put in no effort. Look how quick these death cards are coming up. All right, so you see the god Anubis. This is Anubis. He's all about the funerary rites. That's why you see the coffin in the back. You see all the offers to the gods. You see he's holding a bone in his hand. In the hand, he's holding the ankh. Let me hold this a little stiller. One hand, he's holding the ankh. The other hand, he's holding the bone, which I'm sure is used as a tool. And you see these offerings have like you can say these have certain things in it, but it has the head of deities, right? Very, very symbolic cards. And lastly, I want to show you the death card in the Goddess Tarot as well, just to give y'all an overall sense of what we're dealing with here. So give me 1 second. But going back to it, so most of the time, death is associated with wisdom beyond the cycles of time. Wisdom that essentially every soul has to go through. So you can say the skull and bones is symbolic to the soul, not the spirit. We have to make sure that we are clear. We're not talking about the spirit. We're talking about the soul. When we're dealing with death, when we're dealing with skull and bones, we're talking about the energy of death, right? Or what is perceived as death, what we think is death. Yeah, here we go right here. Here's the death card in the Goddess Tarot. Okay. So you see X111, that's 13, representing transformation. I believe that says transformation. Yeah, it's transformation. And you're dealing with the goddess Yukimochi. going into the Far East. So if you need to know how to spell it, Ukemochi, Yukimochi, or something of that nature. She represents transformation, right? There we go. Now, because we're dealing with wisdom outside of the circle and time, outside of the circle of space and time, because we're dealing with soul wisdom, wisdom from the soul versus wisdom from the spirit. So let me make this clear. The difference between wisdom from the soul versus wisdom from the spirit, without getting too complex, because the soul is infinite, right? The soul is infinite. And I'm already beginning to sweat, so I apologize. It's, we on the West Coast, so there's no way of getting around this. The soul is timeless. The spirit has a time limit. So we're dealing with limitation versus limitless, right? Limitation versus limitless. This represents limitless because it goes beyond. So although you have dropped your physical shell, you still retain your memory. So that when you take on another shell, when you take on another vessel, because again, hopefully y'all been following along with the Emerald Tablets of Thought. If y'all don't understand the afterlife and what's going on after death, before death, and all that is being explained in the Emerald Tablets of Thought. So definitely check out those videos if you're not familiar with the concepts. Again, like all the videos are all intermingled together. So this represents wisdom that goes beyond the beginnings and the endings. For a lot of people, death represents an ending. For those who are wise, death represents a new beginning. Right? So let's take it a step further. Does it resonate with particular deities or spirits besides, the constellation of Scorpio? Absolutely. The more I've been working with this symbol, that's what I call it a symbol. The more I've been working with this symbol, it's been leading me to deities. What deities or what spirits has it led me to? Exu or Ishu. Ishu Pamba Gira. EXU. Right? That's the masculine aspect. The masculine aspect is EXU. The feminine aspect is Pamba Gira. Pombagira. Pamba Gira and Ishu. Now, if you look up these imageries, if you look up Ishu, if you look up Pamba Gira, they're going to be associated with devils. They're going to see, sometimes you're going to see Ishu represents the devil himself with the red skin or the black skin and the horns. Pamba Gira will represent the feminine aspect. You're going to see a woman with red skin, or it can be a regular woman with dark skin or light skin, and she's going to have horns. Of course, they got the famous pitchfork, right? So whenever you're dealing with Ishu or Pamba Gira, and they are, again, that's the feminine aspect and the masculine aspect, it's not too much information available in English of these deities. There's a reason for that, because there are certain mysteries hidden within the deities. Let me be more clear. You can say each deity has many paths. So if you think about Pamba Gira has at least, let's just say 16 paths. You can say deities like Orzuli, for all my voodoo practitioners out there. Orzuli has many paths. Also Simbi, S-I-M-B-I, which is a snake in the voodoo tradition, which has many different paths. So whenever you think about spirits or deities, there's many different paths. You can say there is a path of every deity that resonates with each of the chakras. You can say that, just as an example, just to put it into proper perspective, right? So no matter what deity or what spirit you may work with, they all have a particular path. Like you have the form or the path that is more hot and active, then you have the form of the path that is more cold and calculating, just depending on, what energy you're trying to pull in. So when we're dealing with Pambagira, she has like 16 paths, maybe more, maybe less, just to give an example. And each of her paths, as well as Ishu has many, many different paths as well. So again, like whenever we look up these deities, again, whether we're looking through an encyclopedia, whether we're using Wikipedia, whether we're using Google, whenever we're looking up these deities or spirits, they're probably just talking about one path. They're not necessarily going in depth about the many, many various paths. Because again, most of that information is not available in English. You're gonna have to spend some bread and get books on this type of information, because it's just there really isn't too much information where you can Google about these deities and spirits, because the information has remained secret. However, all things that are hidden must come to light. So now, I definitely, just by me having this in my presence, it's like I'm constantly thinking about skulls, and all the ideas associated with skulls. And again, it led me to Ishu and Pambagira. I spoke briefly about Pambagira before when I was asked, well, what is the spirit that rules over the city of Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia? And I revealed that it was Pambagira. Right? Now, is DC the only city that she has rulership over? Of course not. There's many, many different cities, especially if we're talking about in Brazil. She's not really worshipped in Africa. She's more so worshipped in Brazil. Even though Brazil may not even be her origins, but that's where she blew up. The world became familiar with Pombagira in Brazil, just to give a historical context. So, a lot of this information is written in different languages, and you have to get a translator, somebody who wrote a book about it, somebody who's within the traditions. So again, this information is not necessarily available to the public. So I just want to make it known that even though Skull and Bones, the Illuminati, all these darker things, all these sinister things that's associated with Ishu or Pambagira or just the Skull and Bones, there's good reason for that. And the reason why it's good reason for that is because there's many paths. So for example, you have a path for Pambagira where she's a prostitute and she rules over prostitution. She also has a path where she's all about love and romance and monogamy, right? So it all depending on how you are, and this is why we must know ourselves. Because depending on how we are, we will work with a particular path of a particular deity. So I encourage everybody, all the deities, all the spirits that you're already drawn to, just understand that they have many different paths. And based on how you are, you choose the path that best resonates with you. That's the purpose of these deities. So again, a lot of this information, people don't necessarily even think this deeply into spirits, because again, a lot of this information is not even available in the English language. But we understand it, the further we go back, we understand that there's many, many, many different paths. Again, another example of this would be Urzuli, though that may be a more popular deity that people resonate with. Now, going back to it, so you have Pambagira. She can manifest in the path of the prostitute, manifest in the path of love and romance, manifest in the path of vengeance. Like for somebody who wants vengeance, for somebody who's seeking revenge, she can manifest in that path as well, all depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Right? Same thing for Ishu. He has many different paths. One of his paths is he's the opener of the crossroads. Whatever obstacles that you may be faced with, you channel in Ishu, get you a skull, get you some bones. Doesn't have to be real, just symbolic. You know what I mean? Get you some skull, get you a bone. Understand like, yo, I'm using this to channel in the energy of Ishu or the energy of Pambagira. So now that you set the intention, now you can remember all things can be programmed. All things are composed of atoms. Atoms can be programmed utilizing your thoughts. So all things can be programmed. So you can place this on your altar with the intention to connect with a particular deity, and it will do so. All right. Just to lay down the foundation, right? So just letting it be known, the reason why a lot of this information is not available to the public and it's not available in the English language is because this information is, not only does it work, because again, I'm getting the information directly, Because again, I'm about to buy the books. I haven't even read the books yet. But I've been receiving the information like, yo, these are the deities that you need to focus on. Right? So I've been led to these deities even before I even read the book. But just by having this in my in my cipher, just by having this symbol in my cipher is bringing a lot of information to me that I wasn't even thinking about, which is leading, okay, let me check this out, let me check this out, let me read this, let me read that. And that's why I'm revealing it here, that there's many, many, many different paths to all these deities that we may already be familiar with. So 9 times out of 10, it don't matter what deity or what spirit you're working with, they all have many paths that are not spoken of. That's the aspect of, I'm not even going to say spirituality, because this is going beyond the spirit. We're talking about the soul, the infinite soul. It's harder to tap into the soul because most people are caught up in the spirit. Most people don't even know the difference, right? Most people are caught up within the spirit of this, the spirit of that, where whenever we're dealing with the soul, this information is a little bit more frightening, right? The soul got to represent the skull, right? The crystal skulls. Somebody mentioned it in the comments, the crystal skulls, which is all about retaining your memory. And I believe it's 13 crystal skulls. Retaining your memory beyond death, which is all about the soul. So when the spirit leaves your body, what remains is your soul, right? Just to lay that foundation. So we're talking about soul information. So again, whenever we see skull and bones, we're not necessarily dealing with the spirit, we're dealing with the soul. And if you want to understand more of that, again, a lot of this information is not available in English because most people who are into spirituality are into spirit. They're not really dealing with the soul. So a lot of information about the soul didn't really come out to like Gnosticism. Once Gnosticism became more popular around, I believe, the 1940s, when I believe it's called the Al Kamadi Library was discovered. You know, like the Gnostic Bible, things of that nature. When that type of information was discovered, which was recently in recent history, right, within the last 100 years, you know, people start to talk more about the soul. So this isn't necessarily something that has been just readily available because most people have been concerned with the spirit. Because most people are concerned with the spirit, there's not a lot of information available on the soul. Again, like I said, you have the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which we're going through. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth speaks about the soul, but it's not a lot of people speak about the soul. Why? Because we all don't have souls. A lot of people don't want to admit that. That may make certain people uncomfortable. Everybody has a spirit. Everybody has a spirit, but everybody doesn't have a soul. Therefore, because everybody doesn't have a soul, this is why this type of imagery, like, no, we don't want to deal with this, right? Or this is a little bit too frightening. It's a little bit too deep. This takes you a little bit too deep into the soul. This definitely will have you soul journeying versus astral traveling. There's a difference between soul journeying and astral traveling. When you are going into the soul is infinite. When you're going into the astrals is limited. Most people, when they think about the astrals, like, oh, the astrals is unlimited. Not necessarily. The astrals are a part of the matrix as well. The astrals are not necessarily separate from the matrix. But what is separate from the matrix is the soul. The soul goes beyond the matrix. The soul goes beyond the astral plane. Your soul exists at the highest spectrums of light, right? Which you have to go through the darkness. To get to the highest spectrums of light, you got to go through the darkness, right? You got to go beyond the spirit. The spirit can only take you so far. The soul is what takes you on the soul journey, which most people, again, this is why you don't really hear too many people speaking about that. Everybody can speak about astral projection, astral traveling, spirituality, but not many people talk about soul. Because now we're taking it a step further. We're going into older information. We got to take it even further back. Remember, ancient future. The further we go back, the more futuristic we begin to think. This is why we study the history. Because we know, if we realize how advanced people was, when we think about us, we're like, we're not necessarily more intelligent. We may be more spiritual, than people in the past, but we're not more soulful. A lot of people don't even identify with that, right? People don't even say those words like I'm a soulful person, or I'm a soul man, or a soul woman. That people don't even utilize that terminology no more. That's like back in the '70s, right? You know what I mean? Like when you were soulful, but you soulful, soul food, and all that. Many of these terms are not even used or not fully understood. So this is dealing with the soul. So whenever them skull and bones, that's dealing with soul, going deeper into self, going beyond the spirit, going into the soul. When you go into the soul, it takes you to many, many different paths. You may think you're just working with one deity, just to discover that your deity has 20 different paths. And you are supposed to choose a path that resonates with you. Again, if you're somebody who is promiscuous, there's a path for that. If you're somebody who's monogamous, there's a path for that. If you're somebody who just kind of gets in every now and then, there's a path for that. For somebody who wants to be celibate or chaste, there's a path for that. For somebody who's seeking power, who wants to use their sexuality to accumulate power, there's a path for that. Somebody who wants to use their sexuality to acquire wisdom, there's a path for that. For somebody who wants to use their sexuality just strictly for pleasure, there's a path for that. Right? So I'm using these terms because, again, we're talking about Pambagira. You know what I mean? When you research her, you will see that she has a real dark, sinister, devilish energy when it comes to the imagery. The imagery seems demonic, but the energy is truly beyond the spirit. So anything, whenever you see these spirits, Ishu, Pambagira, you know what I mean, Supe, many, many spirits that are associated with them devil horns and the pitchfork and the red skin, these are just talking about deities that are hot and volatile. These are deities that are not patient. They want to get things done. They're very, very possessive. These are stronger spirits. Stronger spirits. These are spirits, you can say, that introduce you to the soul. They introduce you to the soul. However, the reason why most people don't walk these paths is obvious, because it deals with the underworld. So like I said, these are the deities that prostitutes use to protect themselves. These are the deities that people use when they want to just have sexual relations with no string attached. What people are afraid to ask for, right? These are the deities that you ask those things that you may not want to ask, like an Isis, or a Virgin Mary or a Holy Mother. You may not want to ask her, oh, I just want to do things just to do it, just for the pleasure. You may not want to ask those particular deities. These are the deities when you can be yourself, your vulgar self. Okay, I just want to do it for the night. I just want to do this. I just want to do this. Where you need to explore your darker side, and the deities go beyond moralism, obviously. So somebody has in the back of their mind, I want to work this underground. I want to become master of the underground. There's a path for that, and the deities are not judging you, looking at you like you're crazy, because this is the domain that they rule over. This is their domain, right? So instead of like, you probably shouldn't do that, they're like, okay, if you truly want to engage in whatever type of behavior you're trying to engage in for your soul, so you're not doing it for no other reason than to satisfy your soul. Our souls are timeless. So your soul may want to have sexual relations with 1,000 people for your soul. Nobody needs to ask why, or nobody needs to ask, is that right? Is that wrong? Should you be doing that? Should you not be doing that? Is that safe? Those questions don't even need to arise, because you can shield yourself under the protection of Ishu or Pambagira in their various paths. So you don't even have to concern yourself with moralism. So this is why these are harder paths for those of us who are a lot harder. For those, again, whenever we're dealing with skulls, it's dealing with things like rock, things with like heavy metal, right? So these are darker paths. These are more paths associated with the underworld. So a lot of people don't walk these paths, and people who do walk these paths, these people tend to be looked at a little weird. When you see people tatted up with skulls and bones all over their body, people tend to look at them a little bit weird, like, okay, this person may be channeling a little darker energy, right? And they truly may not be, but just the imagery gives off that aura. Just again, just by me holding this in my hand, again, got me 8 dislikes, right? I have 8 dislikes already just because I'm holding this. Trust me, if I kept it up here, it wouldn't happen, right? Just letting you know, when it's really making people feel some type of way in their heart, you know it's real. Because if it wasn't real, right, that energy wouldn't even be given out. But this is just for the select few. This isn't for the masses. I'm not speaking to the masses. I'm only speaking to a certain type of person who understands spirituality from a scientific, mathematical, and a personal perspective. You have a personal understanding of spirituality, of the soul, because you explore your soul. You express yourself through the spirit. You have mastery over your body so that you can control your mind, right? The Wiz Dorothy went into the underworld to find her soul. Exactly. These are ancient stories. All that Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, these are ancient stories being retold in modern times. And that's why I dealt with the soul. And yes, you have to go to the underworld, go beyond death to find your soul, meaning you got to go beyond spirit. You have to go beyond moralism. You got to go beyond the things that have been programmed in you. So if you grew up thinking sex is bad and wrong, then even if you get married, you're still going to have a certain type of feeling about it. Just think about that. If all your life you've been told you shouldn't do this, this is bad, this is wrong, except in holy union. So like, if this is not expressed within holy union, it's negative. So if a person grew up with that mentality, even if they engaged in a holy union, they still would have thoughts in the back of their mind that says, maybe this is wrong. Maybe I don't really feel right, because they're still dealing with moralism. So everybody who's trying to get beyond moralism, because again, we talk about that, no matter who you're listening to, right? Anybody who's dealing with the underworld is telling you to go beyond moralism. They're telling you have to go beyond what you feel is right or wrong based on the things that you have been programmed with, based on your understanding, right? We have to go beyond that. We have to go beyond the spirit and deal with the soul, right? So there we go. So again, hopefully this wasn't too heavy, but this was absolutely necessary. Hopefully it wasn't too heavy, but it was absolutely necessary. All right? So, again, obviously this definitely, motherfuckers are not liking this shit. I might as well just cuss now. Motherfuckers just got 10 dislikes for spitting this game, so I might as well just say fuck it. You know what I mean? Fucking, there ain't no point in trying to be civil, trying to be professional. Fucking, I'm here. Look at this goddamn skull. You know what I mean? Work with this energy for those who are not afraid to explore their souls. So we're going beyond the spirit. We're going beyond the spirit. And we're going into the underworld. And that's where we explore and discover who we really are. You discover who you really are paying attention to your dreams. You discover who you really are once you die, once you have to deal with the judgment, right? Once you have to face yourself and your fears, which most people wait till they die. That's why people die with fear. That's the worst thing you can do, is to leave this plane still having fear in your heart because you feel like you don't know what's about to happen after you die. Versus you've been soul journeying, you've been soul traveling, so you know exactly what's going to happen because you've been putting in that work. So there is no need for you to fear the next level of transformation, which is cultivating your soul. So it's something that you're either going to have to cultivate in this lifetime or next lifetime or that, whatever. But again, whenever we're dealing with We're not even going to call it spirituality. Whenever you're dealing with exploration of the soul, we're going beyond moralism. We're going beyond right or wrong. You're doing it for the sake of your soul. This is what it means to save yourself. You are saving yourself because you are exploring the depths of your own soul beyond what we think or what we have been given by religion. We are in a religious society, so these teachings, these thoughts will always be in the underworld. This will never be mainstream. This will never be for the masses. This will never be popular. Although, of course, people utilize the imagery of skulls all the time. But do they truly understand the purpose? Of course not. Because again, everybody doesn't have a soul. Everybody doesn't have an infinite layer that they can penetrate through and explore the deepest aspects beyond life or death. Right? So we're going beyond life or death into the realm of the soul. This is a symbol to help you with that. Right? So again, the moment I start talking about the soul and we're going beyond the spirit, more. So this video is motivating me. I'm like, yo, this 13 people, the number 13, they really don't like it. I'm just gonna keep talking about it. I'm just gonna keep talking about it. No, they didn't activate it. You didn't activate something within. I'm like, yo, this many people hate it. We're gonna keep talking about it. You're gonna keep seeing this score. We're gonna keep talking about the underworld. You might as well unsubscribe. You might as well unsubscribe at this point because you didn't activate something. I'm like, oh, why the hate? But fuck it. Now I gotta put it in your face just to let you know that it is what it is. We ain't concerned with people's feelings. This ain't about emotion. This ain't about how you feel. Fuck your feelings. Get into your soul journeying. Fuck other people's feelings. Get into your soul journeying. Go beyond your spirituality. We don't need to work with just random spirits. We can work with the spirits that come to us. Get some symbolism to help channel spirits to you and so they can help you, as opposed to you looking for them. Let them come to you because you putting in that work. You are converting, not generating. You are converting so much energy because you're putting in that work. So you are converting energy so that you attract spirits to you naturally because you are putting in that work. All right. So put in that work and have the spirits come to you because you have the proper symbolism on your altars, or you have the proper symbolisms within your personal space, right? That's why, again, you see me with tarot cards all over the place because it all represents symbolism. All this is symbolism on the back of the tarot cards. This is completely symbolic, right? This is all symbolism. This is symbolism, right? Symbolism and symbolism. There you go. All right, so we ain't gonna take up too much time. Any new old thoughts on crystal balls? Crystal balls definitely help you to connect with the water element as well. So definitely. So for all my crystal gazers, for all my stargazers, that's definitely connected with the element of water. All my mirror gazers, all my water gazers, gazing into the ocean, gazing into the rivers, gazing into the mirrors. That's all working with the element of water, right? So I encourage everybody, whether it's deaf, whether it's crystal gazing, whatever, stargazing, this is all working with the element of water. So you can say, increase your water intake, right? Start to practice urine therapy, if you can stomach that. You know what I mean? Get deeper into your meditations and get deeper into your dreams by having the skull, in your space, in your personal space at all times. Connect with the water element. So this is all that is. It's all connected with the element of water. The element of water represents the infinite. It represents the all. It represents that which has no beginning and no ending, which predates time itself. Right? So hopefully that's not too deep. So we can leave it at that. Unless anybody has any questions, we can definitely leave it at that. I know this video is a little bit sinister. Not really. But you know, I appreciate all the dislikes because y'all let me know this is what I need to be talking about. I need to talk more about the soul. That's why we're reading the Emerald Tabs of Thoth. We're gonna get right back into it tomorrow, which is talking all about the soul. So we're gonna get back to that, and I just got to continue with the information. I mean, you know, we ain't going nowhere. We're not stopping. You know, definitely. You know what I mean? Everybody who didn't hit the dislike button, hit the dislike button. Might as well just join the crew, hit the dislike button, make this the most hated video on the channel, and you know, have fun with it. You know, have fun with it. But we gonna keep it coming. But boom, here we go once again. Marvin the Magi with the super chat. Marvin the Magi know what this is about, right? I appreciate you once again, big homie. You already know it. You know what I mean? Definitely check out my dude Marvin the Magi on Instagram. I believe it's spelled the same way. Definitely for all my Instagram heads, you know, check him out on Instagram. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you once again, big homie. You've been holding it down for a very, very long time now. Believe it's been like over a year. You know what I mean? So I definitely peeped the familiar faces. Definitely, you know, Afro Pick. You know what I mean? I see you in here, 305 Capricorn. Again, Moon Spirit. You know, I see all the familiar faces. I know who's been along for the ride, for the long term. For those who don't get caught up in one video, who understand that there's many different aspects to the soul. So you're not going to define the whole thing based off one video because you didn't see many different aspects of this. This is a very, very complex subject matter, but it can be reduced to simpler terms so that you can at least put it into perspective, right? This is why we put in that work. So I encourage everybody, continue to put in your work. Go from spirit to soul. Soul journey. The soul is infinite. Showing support for the great work. Always, always. We definitely talk about the great work, right? The great work. What's up, Savage God? So this is the great work. So you got the work, you got spiritual work, which is essentially just working with spirit, seeing what's going on. Nothing wrong with it, but it's limited. You limit it to what you can do versus soul work, the great work, the work that's going to last beyond your physical incarnation, the work that's going to stay with you beyond this physical incarnation. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're getting into. And again, you know, here we go. You know, give all the hate. All the hate is being consumed by the skull. You know what I mean? And we're gonna convert that energy. We're gonna convert the hate, and we gonna you know what I mean? I'm getting tongue twisted. We're gonna convert the hate and keep it coming. Yeah, the skull is definitely beautiful. It's a beautiful symbol once you get out of your feelings, right? Once you get out of your feelings, and once you know that what I say is truth, you know what I mean? Because you really doing it yourself. You know it because you put the work in. Not you're believing me because for the sake of believing me, because you are actually putting that work in. So you know what I say to be the truth because you were seeing the same things I was seeing because you was doing the same things I was doing. So I like to be as personal as possible. You know, so if I'm receiving some type of revelations, I'm going to let you know, well, this is what I was doing, this is what I was working with. Again, especially if you're on a website, you know what I mean? So again, definitely check out the links in the description. You know what I mean? We're going to be right back at y'all tomorrow. We coming back with the Emerald Tabs of Thoth. I may make another video after that or before that, you know, just depending on how long it takes me to get through that. But again, you know what I mean? So definitely everybody dislike the video unless you really fuck with it. But you know, everybody who ain't fucking with it is unsubscribe. You know, you're not gonna find anything here from this point moving on. I'm not gonna say anything from my older videos. My older videos are my older videos. We ain't even gonna talk about the past. But from this point moving forward, if this information doesn't resonate with you, you know what I mean, exit, because this is all we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about the soul. If you don't like it, then you know, go to somebody else's channel and get the information that you need for yourself, or read a book, or put in your own work. Not a problem. Okay, you know what I mean? We're not going to get that energy right back. We all about converting the energy, right? Conversion, right? So I appreciate the love. I appreciate the hate. Exactly. Serious creators only. Serious. You know what I mean? This is definitely for the alchemists, for the occultists, for the fortune tellers, for the psychics, for the mediums, for the warriors, for the sex goddesses, you know what I mean? For the street underworld, right? Because everybody looks down upon these people, these places, and these things. But spirituality can be found in all places, especially in the underworld, because that's where the soul can be found. You go through your spirit to discover your soul. And sometimes that's in the deepest, darkest places that you never would expect to look. Right? So for everybody who's not afraid to look in the depths of their own soul to bring about that divine light and ascend, and this is definitely for you. So definitely tune in. So yeah, maybe for the next week, I can gear my videos towards these concepts to give people a greater understanding and continue to bring these channels down from the divine. So all right, we're gonna get up out of here. All right, we're gonna clear that energy. We're gonna keep it moving. So all right, so I'll definitely get at y'all tomorrow. Definitely check out the links in the description. Check out the website. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. You know what I mean? Continue to dislike the video. Make this the most disliked video on the channel. Just to let people know that it's time to get serious. Definitely, we're going into the fall. We making the transition out to summer. We'll be in the fall a little bit. Y'all know the fall is my season. So we just warming up right now. We just warming up. We're gonna get deeper into this fall season. So continue to keep it coming. So once again, we out. Peace, Hotep. Salute.